We have ourselves officially, I don't think it's a matter of a top 4 finish. I think it's a matter of what color, silver or gold, for the Sun Devils.
I mean, we're certainly in the battle. I mean, obviously Penn State's stretched it out a good 10 or 15 points, but, going 4 for 5 in the semis, and we were an overtime away from going, I say in the quarters to get into the semis. We were an overtime away from getting 5 for 5 into the semis, but it was a good round for us.
Teamer, we already talked about it. He can win the weight. Do you think he believes he can win the weight? He told me he can. Do you think he believes
Yeah,
that?
Jacory believes he can. I think he started to believe, that second round when he got a win, saw David get beat, and then I think he's always been a tournament wrestler. As he gets into a third, fourth match of a tournament, that's when you start to see his best wrestling. And that last match, that's the most comfortable I've been sitting in the corner, knowing he was in total control.
Courtney, speed kills. One takedown, kind of shuts her down a little bit, but battles and guts a win out. What's that say about him?
Yeah, I mean, they're winners. Brandon, Mikkel, they're Jacory, right? All of them. They're just winners. I think sometimes we get focused on winning when we need to focus on dominating and scoring points, right? And I think Courtney and McGee kind of settled for that. Hey, let's just get the win, but then in a dogfight. But sometimes you got to do that too. And I think they got to the end of that bout and just shut it down and got the W.
McGee smashed him 10-0 in the duel. Beats him 9-8 today,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think they spent a lot of weeks on Mikkel, right? I mean, they had an answer for his ankle ride. They had an answer for the double leg. But it was only to slow it down. It's just like Michael Jordan. You can't stop him. You got to contain him. They were able to contain McGee, but they couldn't stop McGee.
Parko's a nightmare. He's a matchup nightmare for literally everybody in the bracket. Sasso, I think, is the only guy that could stifle that. Yanni, right? Yanni and Sasso. He's in another quarter. He's probably in the semis, right? I mean, that dude is a nightmare.
Yeah, he's, overtime away. He had the single leg up in the air for the win.
Yes.
And he
went for a cradle. He went for a cradle.
Went for a cradle. I mean, I think he was in a perfect position to win that match. Obviously, it didn't go his way this time, but he's a freshman. Colton Schultz is a freshman. I mean, if you start to look through our lineup, we got a lot of really... Teamer is a sophomore. So we got a lot of really good young guys.
You guys really fly below the radar. Your last team, west, the only team in the modern era to win the NCAAs west of the Rockies, which you were a part of the team, right? You were a part of that championship in '88, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think people forget about that. I think you're very overlooked. You're the last team to beat Penn State in a dual meet. I think people forget about that, and that's recent. That's a bias we should all have. That's called recency bias. They don't even remember that, right? Mm-hmm. Why do people overlook you? Why do people not take ASU seriously? 4 semifinalists. You're in the hunt for the gold or silver trophy. Why?
Yeah, I think first off, everybody pays attention to the Big Ten. I pay attention to the Big Ten, so that's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of really good teams there. Then there's a lot of teams in the Big 12, and so you start to look over their necks. And then I just think there's a time change. So time our dual meet comes on at 7 p.m., it's 10 p.m. for the people in the West or East Coast, and they're going to bed. And the night we beat Penn State, I don't think anybody saw it because they were on bed on the East Coast. So I just think you've got a couple factors at play that slow down people from paying attention to the Pac-12 and Arizona State. And I think it just works in our favor. I don't think, people are scouting and paying attention like they probably should. And I think that just works in our favor.
I feel like all the program, this is me saying it, not you, but I feel like your schools have held your programs hostage, in my opinion. I feel like Stanford had the same thing happen, and they expect some magic donor to come in. And fortunately, you guys have donors like that. You guys have Art Martore as a huge donor. But I feel like the schools almost don't take it seriously. How do you as a coach make the school take it seriously?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we're at Arizona State, they do take it serious. We have 3 athletic directors here, including our head AD, right? So Ray Anderson's here, Graham.
Schools in the West. Hold on. Let me reframe my question. Schools in the West.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think there's just a momentum in wrestling in the West Coast that, there's a different priority order. But I do think that, like I said the other day in the interview, I think they're looking at the West as a growth opportunity. The NCAA is saying, hey, we're looking at it as a growth opportunity. So I think the other athletic directors, my hope, will see that same thing.
Not a cut on your guys' school.
No, our school, we got a tremendous amount of support.
But you get my point.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
been on the chopping block before. and got saved.
Yeah.
Stanford was on the chopping block. It got saved. Cal State, Bakersfield, multiple times on the chopping block. It's been saved. Fresno, brought back, dropped. You got Parco, returning All-American from Fresno State. You get my point, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, wrestling's under attack everywhere. It dropped it around the world, too, right?
It's frustrating, though.
Yeah.
For me, it's very frustrating as a huge
Yeah.
promoter and supporter
I
of
think
it.
you just do a good job in your program. I think if you do a good job in your program, they get excited. Like right now, there's a tremendous amount of excitement in our athletic department. People are excited about wrestling there because we're having success, right? But I think it's also we engage the community. People get to be involved in our program. And my hope is that the other coaches in those good programs create the community aspect around their team and get people to come.
Last thing, 4-for-4 in the semis tonight. What do you got to do to go 4-for-4?
Well, I mean, it's like anything. Do what you do and have a good game plan for the things they do, and you need to be aware of them. I think that's what we do pretty well is we stick to what we do good and make sure we stay out of what you do. And I think that's what we'll do tonight.
Good luck tonight, Coach.
Thanks. Appreciate it.